A hidden quest line was revealed, and so much more is happening this week. But for now, servers are down. My name is Swag, and this is the Vault Day Update. In personal news, I ran a plus 20 on week 1 of season 3. I'm feeling pretty good about that. That was the first time I've ever gotten that far, so I feel a little hyped. There are a bunch of tuning changes going out this week for the Mythic Plus dungeons. Some of the biggest are buffs to Atal Dazar and nerfs to Galakron's Rise, although a good chunk of the dungeons are seeing some work being done on them to fix those areas that just don't feel right. Players have uncovered a quest line after killing Farak that allows them to find out what happens to the Night Elves and the Tree of Imildrasil. Although upon doing the quest line, it becomes pretty obvious that this probably wasn't meant to be released yet and has details regarding upcoming story plots that Blizzard has not yet been ready to release. I don't want to overshare for spoilers, although if you want to check it out for yourself, you can always go and get that Farak kill, or just Google it. This bit of news is one that I have actually talked about a bit before with people, but the Covenant abilities from Shadowlands that have been kept into our new talent trees are getting reworked in their appearances. As much as we love the abilities themselves, their appearances don't actually make a lot of sense for many of the classes that use them. On my Death Knight, Slappy Hands feels about right. It looks about right for a Death Knight ability. However, on my Shaman, shooting out necromantic magic does not make sense for Primordial Wave, and so I love the change now where instead of shooting out the necromantic magic, it is now shooting out a mix of fire and water magic. It might seem like a small change, but it continues to build the class fantasy that exists within the game and allows things to feel coherent without having to go back and keep explaining that, yes, I'm throwing this brew of bones because we went to the Shadowlands. The Pilgrims bounty event is running this week. A few things to keep in mind: the buff to your reputation does stack with the anniversary buff and does work with the new Dream Warden faction. You can find these celebrations happening in all capital cities and most faction-based towns. This week's affixes are tyrannical, entangling, and bursting. Entangling will put vines around players, slowing them down and punishing them after a certain amount of time. However, you can get out of this by using a trap release like Blessing of Freedom or just simply running out of the vines. And bursting shatters all of our hopes and dreams on doing big pulls on the first tyrannical week of the season, because bursting will put a stacking debuff on all players in your party every single time a non-boss enemy is killed. So if you pull big and you get lots of stacks, well, those stacks will do more and more damage to your party, eventually doing so much that your healer can't even keep up. We got a first look into the mysterious follower dungeons of patch 10.2.5, and you might be saying, what the heck is a follower dungeon? Well, follower dungeons are dungeons with NPC teammates instead of real player teammates, and I think a lot of us were concerned that we would be queuing up for a dungeon and all of a sudden we're getting plugged with bots instead of real players. However, Blizzard has released information that clears the air. Follower dungeons will be their own queued type of dungeon in comparison to normal dungeons. So if you want to play with players, you can, and if you don't, you'll hurt my feelings, but you don't have to play with players either. And as a nice little tie-in, the NPCs in your dungeon that are helping you are the same ones that you met on the Exiles Reach, leveling from 1 to 10. An update on Race to World First: guilds are currently working on T-Swift still. They have not made it to Farak yet. However, developers did just release a nerf to T-Swift on Phase 3. Now, at the time of recording this, no guild has even made it to Phase 3 yet, so I'm curious as to why that nerf came out. Is there a possibility that Blizzard does not want this to extend into Thanksgiving and force their employees to maybe have to work over the holiday to fix a bug that pops up or something game-breaking for the Race to World First? But I'm also not entirely sure that could be correct, because even though no guild has made it to Farak yet, they also pushed out a buff for Farak. So we haven't even seen him in combat yet, and he's already stronger than he was before. But this does raise the question, do you think over holidays that maybe Blizzard should turn off Raid? So during Thanksgiving itself, Raid is actually shut down until the end of the holiday. Would that give an advantage to people or a disadvantage? I'm not sure. I understand not every country celebrates Thanksgiving. However, Blizzard employees are American-based for the most part, and so for them to be able to go home and enjoy time with their family and not feel like they have to keep an eye on some competition going on doesn't seem bad to me. But that's everything happening this week in the world of Warcraft. I gotta get back to crushing some dungeons and see if I can hit KSM today. But my name is Swag, and I will see you next week.